Did you know that all your pension money goes to these powerful funds? You're probably familiar with the billionaires and the mega companies of the world. And sure, they may control a ton of money, but their influence is only limited to their specific industry. And that's where investment funds come in. You see, when someone who's already made a ton of money wants to make more of it, sure, they can invest it themselves. But what an exceedingly large number of people have come to realize is that if they put their money together under a special team of investors, not only does the risk go down, their profits increase as well. That's also why pension funds give your money to these funds as well. And for that purpose, these funds are created. While there are thousands of funds active today, a select few have been able to amass so much wealth and as a result, so much influence. It's not a far stretch to say that they have a greater direct influence over the world's money than any other entity. To understand just how insanely huge these guys can get, let's take a look at 15 of the largest funds out there. But first, let's clear something up, namely the calculation of value. Basically, unlike a person who can be judged by their net worth, influence, or many other things, a hedge fund is measured solely by AUM, or assets under management. So with that piece of information out of the way, let's start the list with number 15, Citadel Advisors. Being the very first company on our list, many may consider the company a bit of a slouch, but this fund is a juggernaut of investment. From investments in equities and commodities, and by using credits and quantitative measures to ensure stability, these guys have amassed a whopping $33.1 billion of assets under their wing. But perhaps the most interesting part of the story is how the company was formed. Because you see, the founder of the company, Kenneth Griffin, actually started this company while he was just a student. And while he did go to Harvard, he started trading from his dorm room floor and went on to found the company as soon as he graduated from the school. Number 14, Davidson Kempner Capital Management. Founded around the same time as our previous choice, Davidson Kempner Capital Management was initially registered as just an advisory company. However, as time went on, they realized their strengths and became an asset management company instead. Now with offices in London, Hong Kong, and Dublin, besides their hometown and seat of power, New York, the company seems to be doing pretty well for itself. As of May 31st, 2021, the company had approximately $37.3 billion under management, and their business strategy is second to none with a focus on bankruptcies, distressed investments, event-driven equities, and restructuring situations. They seem to know what they're doing, and so are here to stay. Number 13, Millennium Management. Coming in at number 13, we have another one of New York's as well as the stock exchange's classics, Millennium Management. And although founded a couple of years after Davidson Kempner in 1989, the New York-based company has made a legacy for itself. Israel Englander, who for the longest time was himself a floor broker on the stock exchange, founded the company with $35 million in capital. And by providing advice as well as management to private funds, as of December 2019, his company now has $42 billion under management. Number 12, Two Sigma Investments. One of the more recent companies on the list, Two Sigma Investments was founded in April 2002 by John Overdeck and David Siegel. While it too is part of the NYC Club, the company relied on a different strategy, where instead of simple intuitive investing, they perform quantitative analysis of historical price patterns and other data and use that information to make mathematical models to invest. And hey, it worked. In less than 2 decades, the company has grown to accumulate $68.9 billion under their management. Number 11, Elliott Management. A name recognizable to almost anyone familiar with hedge funds or investment in general. Paul Singer's New York-based investment juggernaut has been a force to be reckoned with for years. Founded in 1977, the company has one mandate only, to be as wide as possible for the lowest possible risk. And for that purpose, they've managed to create a portfolio encompassing almost every asset type, from distressed securities, hedging, and arbitrage positions, to commodities, equities, real estate-related securities, and everything in between. And when we say everything, we mean it, since they're also the company that quite famously bought out Barnes & Noble in August 2019. And that's not all, since earlier in the previous year, they had also acquired the British bookseller Waterstones. While that might not make sense to us, hey, it seems to work for them, because as of November 2020, the company had $73.5 billion in assets under their direct management, and another almost $40 billion of assets under indirect management. Number 10, Bridgewater Associates. By far the biggest financial advisor outside of New York, Bridgewater Associates is based in Westport, Connecticut, and has proven itself to be something of a Wall Street anomaly, in that it is not situated in its immediate radius. Founded by now co-manager Ray Dalio, the company was his brainchild, having begun in 1975 from his two-bedroom apartment in New York City. And while its story began in the Big Apple, he eventually grew enough to be able to buy real estate there since, as of March 2021, the fund had a jaw-dropping $140 billion under management, all by providing services to pension funds, foreign governments, central banks, university endowments, charitable foundations, and other institutional investors. Number 9. Man Group. One of the 4 non-New York companies and the only non-American company on the list, Man Group also happens to be the oldest, founded a whopping 230 years ago. It was founded in 1784 as an alcohol company, serving as the exclusive supplier of rum to the Royal Navy, which, if you know your history, was not only the world's biggest navy, but also had lucrative trade opportunities. That led to the company eventually branching out into sugar, coffee, and cocoa trading businesses, among others, leading to the empire we know today. And that centuries-long experience is part of the reason that the company has been so enduring, with a mind-breaking $142.3 billion in assets under management as of June 2022. Number 8. Oaktree Capital. Next up, we have another non-NYC company in the form of Oaktree Capital. And while they may not be as big as what's to come, their diversity makes up for it. With a strategy that focuses on alternative investments, the company owns public funds, foundations, corporate and insurance companies, endowments, and sovereign wealth funds, as well as, get this, 73 of the 100 largest U.S. pension plans. All in all, that's made this LA-based company large and stable enough to hold over $164 billion in assets under management. By the way, we're on a mission to help people like yourself make billions, so make sure to subscribe if that sounds like you. Number 7. AQR Capital Management. AQR Capital Management is also relatively recent in its inception, but is massive nonetheless. Situated in Greenwich, no, not that one, but the one in Connecticut, the company was formed by 4 Goldman Sachs veterans, Cliff Asness, and partners John Liu, Robert Crail, and David Kabiller. The company employed quantitative analysis to develop financial models focused on value and momentum investing. And as a result, this company has acquired $164 billion under its direct management. Not to mention the fact that they take home advisory fees on another $224.8 billion in assets. Number 6. Apollo Global Management. Now, some of you may be familiar with this NYC investment conglomerate because of the fact that they bought out the AMC theaters in the States. But trust me, there's a lot more to these guys than theaters. Founded in 1990, the company has garnered assets to invest in everything from credit, private equity, and even real assets like real estate. And because of the continuing reliance on pension and other such funds, all in all, this company has $512.8 billion of assets under management. Number 5. Blackstone Group. Coming in at number 5, the Blackstone name may sound an awful lot like another one down the list, but that doesn't mean the group is not strong enough on its own. One of the few companies on the list not traded publicly, this NYC asset manager follows a philosophy similar to Oaktree, only on a much larger scale, making it roughly 6 times as large. As of 2021, the company's total assets under management were approximately $880 billion. Number 4. UBS Group. One of the very few companies outside the States to have any standing in the financial waters, the UBS Group seems to be an anomaly, but in reality is anything but. Based originally in Switzerland, this banking investment company is what you think of when people talk about Swiss banks. However, for a while now, the company has presented itself as the only true global wealth manager. And with a massive AUM of $4.2 trillion, we don't think they're kidding around with that statement. Number 3. State Street Corporation. Founded in 1792 on Lincoln Street in Boston, this company, although not as old as Man Group, can certainly match it pound for pound in sheer assets. And being the second oldest continually operated bank in the States, as well as part of the big 3 management companies in the country, you know that these guys know what they're doing. And with a mind-numbing $4.14 trillion under management, anyone who says otherwise is just plain lying. Number 2. The Vanguard Group. The second of the big 3 and one of the most diverse and stable investment groups, Vanguard has a share in the market that rivals that of international governments. Known for having a unique passive investment strategy leading to some of the lowest expense ratios of any asset manager, it's honestly no surprise that they hold a massive $7.2 trillion in assets under management. And that brings us to the final part of the trio, the largest asset managers in the world. Number 1. BlackRock. BlackRock Financial Management, the world's largest money manager. was founded in 1994 in New York City. It now has a staggering $10 trillion in assets under management, which is equal to about 1/10 of a year's global economic activity. That's also more than the GDP of every country in the world except for the US and China. Let that sink in for a moment. Having said that, it really comes as no surprise that BlackRock has a big say in how the world runs, which is why it is often referred to as the company that owns the world. Not only that, but BlackRock also owns at least 5% of most major companies in the US. They also have shares in many of the biggest European companies in fields such as energy, transportation, food, and let's not forget finance. And there's also the fact that governments and central banks actually invite their subsidiary BlackRock Solutions to audit them and provide advice about management. BlackRock, on the other hand, is a major shareholder in many of these banks. And if you found this video useful, then you'll love these. And make sure to subscribe and leave a comment saying I subscribed, and we will personally reply to your comment.